Hey guys, this is Brian Hilliard here, author of the best-selling book, Networking Like a Pro, and I am fired up because we have Erik Fruin here, who is an internet marketing strategist, and we are going to talk content marketing, we're going to talk content strategy. Erik, thanks so much for coming out.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you know, a lot of times we've known each other for several years now. Obviously, you're down in that Houston area, and I go down there quite a bit. For those of them who, maybe some of the listeners or viewers here who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, just kind of who you are, what you're all about, just so people can get a better feel for who you are and what we've got going on here, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. So I'm, as you said, an internet marketing strategist. I've been working on the internet in one way or another since probably the mid-90s, back before people even really knew what it was. Built my first personal website in 1995 while I was still in college. And when I got out of college, kind of started dabbling in it a little bit and then got into it professionally, as a lot of people did in the late 90s. And so, yeah, I've just been working on stuff on the internet for, 16, 17 years now. And so I've done everything from website development, marketing, and that sort of thing, search engine optimization, local search, social media, all the different things that have kind of come up over the years as ways for people to market their business via the internet. And obviously it changes a lot all the time. I mean, the internet of today is not the internet that we had, 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And I think everybody knows that, they recognize it. But a lot of people just, when they're marketing their business, they don't know what they should be doing. Or they'll go to a seminar, or they'll read a book from a couple of years ago. They'll learn a couple techniques or something that may have used to work, but don't really work anymore. And so because they're not experts, they're not staying on top of it, a lot of times they're doing things the wrong way, or they're not doing them at all because they just think it's too complex. So what I like to do is meet with small business clients, help them develop their strategy of what they should do, what they shouldn't do, how do they reach their target audience the best, within the budget that they have, so they can actually see some results, track those results, and at the end of the day, know whether or not what they're doing on the internet is making them money or wasting their time.
That's a great point. That's several good points there. The whole idea of the internet changing. We're probably at internet 3.0, if I were just to throw out a number. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not your dad's internet anymore, right? Yeah, right. And so I think a lot of times when we talk about different ways to market on the internet, obviously one of the things that we're going to talk about is content marketing, okay, with you here. Tell us a little bit, just philosophically, where are you kind of coming from a content marketing standpoint? Just philosophically, give us a feel for what it is that you've got.
Philosophically, I guess, I'm a big believer in content marketing, for the most part because of Google. We all know and love and hate Google, just because they're the big boys on the block, and they pretty much drive nearly all of the internet traffic that's out there, and so we kind of have to play by their rules. But the hard part is they don't really tell us what all the rules are. They just kind of give us general guidelines of what you need to do to get ranked highly in the search engine, or to be put on the map, or to, all the various tools that they have out there. They give guidelines, but they never tell you exactly what to do because, well, people would cheat, and everybody would do them. And as a result, they can't differentiate what's number one from number two without some sort of criteria that only they know. And of course, that's how they make their money, is because they have all these tools, most of which are free, but they sell advertising through it, right? And so they have to, as a business model, they have to be able to differentiate what is good, what is not good, what's better than something else. And so there used to be a lot of gimmicks and games that you could play underneath the covers of your website to make that work. Of course, Google learned those. And so what they've really been able to do now, using things like artificial intelligence and computer learning and, all these kinds of things, computers will actually read everything on the web and who's talking about it and what's going on and all these sorts of things to determine who is better than somebody else when it comes to certain keywords. And so the days of just cramming them in to whatever page you have are long gone. You really have to create good content in a variety of formats, words on a web page, videos, social media posts, all these kinds of things. and they all kind of have to work together in order to really convince Google that you know what you're talking about, that you're an expert in your space, that you're better than your competition, and that people should be directed to you as opposed to somebody else when they're searching for a particular phrase. And so, you know, content marketing in its various forms is so important nowadays. And the good thing is it doesn't require a lot of technical know-how. It doesn't rely on you knowing a particular set of skills or how to code or to even really know HTML and all these kinds of things. There are great tools out there that make that sort of thing easy, to build your site, to record a video and edit a video, to post a video, things like WordPress or Drupal or YouTube or Vimeo, or there's all these different sites out there that make getting your content out there very easy. Anyone can do it with probably the tools that you already have at your disposal if you're on the web. And you don't even have to be, you know, a super great writer to come up with super awesome content that everyone's going to be pounding down your door to read. You just write what you know, produce it in a good way. There's a few tactics that you want to do to make sure you're getting it out there the best way. But having that content out there is so important for nearly every kind of business out there. There's a few that it doesn't quite hit, like used car sales. They don't really need to be generating a ton of blogs and that sort of thing. They can, and certainly video can help sell cars. You know, but most industries these days, particularly, you know, small businesses, solopreneurs, those kind of things, can all really benefit from showing the world that they're an expert in their field. And content marketing is a great way to do that.
So if we were to think in terms of like some tips and tricks, you know, for me, when it comes to content marketing, I'm a video man. You know, you and I have talked about that offline. I'm a video man. Some people say, well, I don't want to do video. Some people want to, sometimes podcasting, right? We could talk about that if you want. Tell us a little bit, maybe some tips and tricks, maybe a couple of ideas. If somebody is a business owner, and they're thinking, you know, I want to be able to do some content marketing. Maybe I'm a coach. Maybe I am a photographer. I don't know if that's the best example, but, you know, just kind of your everyday CPA, everyday business owner, what would be some tips and tricks, maybe one or two that you could give us?
Sure. So probably one of the easiest ones, I think, for most people to get into, because most people have a website these days. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are on WordPress or something like that, where it's very easy to build pages, to put out blog posts. Blogging is an excellent way, kind of a first step into content marketing. The tool is easy to do. You sit down, you generate 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs about some topic related to your business. You can post them out very easily. It doesn't take very much time at all. Probably the longest portion of that is the actual writing of the content and editing it so that it sounds good. And that presents your topic well, that it focuses on a specific topic, and that sort of thing. That really takes the longest, I think, for most people I've talked with. That's what I struggle with the most is, you know, coming down and writing a blog post about whatever subject and getting it down. The actual posting it to the blog is super easy. Promoting that out through social media, super easy, and those kinds of things. But it's a very easy first step to get in for people. Because you can just sit down, type in, you know, like I said, 3 or 4 paragraphs about a specific subject, post it on your blog, and then tell people about it so they'll go read it. Solicit feedback from people so that, you know, perhaps there's some question that you left unanswered. Boom, there's your content for your next blog. If you're having trouble thinking of ideas for what you should even write about, a great thing to do is just, you know, keep a pad of paper on your desk whenever you're getting phone calls or emails from your clients. And they're asking you questions, whether it's, you know, hey, when's this tax form due? Or do I need to file such and such? Or how can I get better at doing this if you're a coach? Or how can I organize my calendar better? Or how can I better manage my time? Or whatever these questions are that seem to come up a lot in your business, write those down. And I say write them down because if you're just like, oh yeah, I'll remember it, you won't. Nobody remembers it. Even people I know who have photographic memory don't remember every little thing. So write it down. And there's something about, you know, actually putting pen to paper that's kind of magical in helping you remember things. There have been studies on that I've read, that not even typing into a keyboard or on a tablet do the same thing. Literal using your hand to mechanically write something helps you remember it better. So you come up with that list of questions, And then you can kind of group some of them that are related together and think of them as a group and then say, oh, I could write a blog post about this. And boom, then you just sit down and you write it as if you were answering that question to your client over the phone. In fact, if you have dictation software on your computer, you literally could just do that. Turn it on, start talking to your computer, and it types it down for you. So you don't have to really worry too much about how you're saying things, what the words are. Am I saying it absolutely perfectly? Don't worry about that at first. Just get it down, either through dictation or typing it or whatever it is. Just get that blog post written. Then you can go back and edit it a little bit, make it a little bit better. And, once you have it ready to go, post it. Go back to your list. If you have some more time, go back to your list of questions, answer the next one, answer the next one. Whenever you're out there publishing it and people are reading your stuff, make sure you're soliciting feedback from them. Hey, what did you like about this article? What did you not like about this article? What questions did it bring up with you? And as they share that information, you're just building up more and more of your list of future topics to write. If you ever run out of topics to write about, which rarely happens for anybody, but if you do find that you're running out of topics, then all you have to do is cycle back to ones that you wrote a year or two ago and create a different version of that same post. Maybe it's not a blog this time. Maybe it's creating a video out of that same blog topic or a series of blog topics. Create videos for them, create an audio podcast, and just talk about it, for 30 minutes or so if you can, and record that. You can post it as a podcast. So you can create different formats, different types of content around those same ideas. What I found with most of my clients is that they can produce one piece of content every week, which sounds like a lot when you first start, but once they get into it, they realize, oh yeah, putting out something new every week isn't that hard to do. And they can usually keep going for several years without really having to repeat too much. Because once they get their stuff out there, people are reading it or watching the videos or whatever and providing that feedback. It just kind of keeps going in a circle, and it keeps giving more and more ideas of what's the next piece of content they can produce.
Yeah, it's almost, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. I was going to say it's kind of like a virtuous cycle at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned video, right? And that's something that's a big conversation. I'm a big video guy myself, as I mentioned. There's this concept that you and I actually talked about a while back, because there's a conversation around, I have to be perfect. Right? I have to have this, I got to have everything. I got to have all the ducks in a row and all the lighting, and everything needs to be exactly right. And then I can shoot video.
Right.
And talk to us about that, because I know you have some ideas specifically on that area.
Right. So I know when you and I were having lunch a couple months ago and we were talking about this exact subject, I shared with you my idea of what I like to call the good enough spectrum. And this is something, in my own life, in my own work, I have a tendency to be a bit of a perfectionist. Right. I want everything, particularly for my clients, to be as perfect as I can make it. And that's a good goal. There's nothing wrong with that. However, perfectionism takes a lot of time and effort and money that not everybody has. And to be completely honest, when it comes to your content marketing, especially with video, it doesn't have to be perfect. People aren't going to sit there and say, there's a Peyton Manning post on that.
We like Peyton Manning. That's old school, by the way. That's old school Peyton Manning.
Yeah. So if the lighting isn't quite perfect, if there's something distracting in the background, if you're shooting it from your home office and the dog barks,
right?
Which is something I'm concerned about right now because my dogs are right over there. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough for the audience that you're going after, and that's something that only you can really tell. You have to think about, who are you creating this video for? What kind of person are they? What business are they in? Obviously, you're marketing your business. Ultimately, you're going to try to sell something to them long term. What is the value of that to you? If it's a $500 sale or $1,000 sale or a $2,000 sale, then there's some level of professionalism you're going to need in that video. If it's a $5 burger, it doesn't have to be as perfect. If you're selling $1 million homes to people, then maybe you have to slide that spectrum up a little bit and get a little bit nicer of quality, because your target audience is going to expect a little bit more. But really, that's what you have to do, is just find that sliding scale of what is good enough. right in the middle that is something that you are capable of producing. It's within your skill set of being able to produce, but without going so far as, okay, I'm going to hire a 3-man video team, lighting, and I'm going to find the perfect location, and we're going to shoot it on $100,000 video camera, and then we're going to take it into the studio and do professional editing. We're going to add some CGI, and we're going to have a little fly-in, we're going to have an over-the-shoulder thing, and yeah, you can do all that, and maybe you do need that for some people, but for most small business owners that I deal with, if you have one of these, if you have a modern smartphone that has come out in the past couple of years, for the most part, they all record high definition video, at least 1080p, if not 720p, I guess, is probably good enough. But you can get really good video out of a modern smartphone. You can edit video on your smartphone a lot of times and do basic cuts and that sort of thing if you need to. Add captions on the screen, put your phone number, your website address, those kinds of things are all pretty easy to do, to edit that video down to get it good enough. If you're going to be doing something where you're outside and maybe you're a realtor and you want to do a video of a home outside and inside, you might want to step up your game a little. I was speaking with a client just last week who is a realtor. And she was just taking her video camera and walking through a house like this, recording stuff. And I was like, well, that's okay, but here's some simple tips. One, take your phone and turn it like this. So you get don't do this, do this. That right there is a huge plus. Get a Steadicam, or I actually just saw this new thing called a Stabilicam. Basically, it's a long-weighted stick, and you attach it to your smartphone, and then as you walk around, it keeps it nice and smooth. It costs $60, $70, something like that. Very inexpensive. But if you're going to be doing a lot of walking shots, then you might want to spend that little extra money to get a slightly better, so that the camera isn't shaking and all that kind of stuff. If people really need to hear what you're saying, and you're going to be speaking for a long period of time, 10, 15, 30 minutes, an hour, something like that, you may want to invest a little bit in getting either a lapel mic or a boom mic above that can record that audio in a little bit better way than perhaps just off the smartphone microphone, because that may not sound as good, particularly if you're walking around. So again, you kind of have to find where on that spectrum is good enough for the target audience that you're trying to reach, and then strive for that. If it's a little bit above your skill level at this time, spend some time, shoot test video, go into your editor, play around with it, get familiar with your tools that you have available. And there are some very simple video editing tools out there that you can get for under $100. If you're on a Mac like I am, there's one for free built in called iMovie. It's great for those good enough videos. Windows probably has something similar to that. And so being able to produce those videos that are good quality that people will want to watch is actually really easy to do these days. And then what I like to do with videos is, sure, you post on YouTube and those sorts of things, put it out through social media, email it out to your newsletter list and all that to get people to watch the video. The next thing you can do is transcribe that video into text, and boom, you've got a blog post that goes along with the video. You have the video at the top, and you put the transcript below, because the search engines aren't as good at reading the audio out of the video as they are reading the text on a page. And so that's another way that you can grab more attention from the search engines by transcribing that video. So
that's all awesome stuff. Let me finish up with this last question, because this is something that you and I know we talk about all the time, which is making it a part of their day. Right? And making, because we've talked about a lot of good things. We've talked about video, we talked about obviously content and audio, and just some tips and tricks. What can people do to kind of integrate this and really make it a culture in their business? Because as an entrepreneur, people have got so much going on. What can they do, suggestions to integrate this into their everyday life?
Yeah, the first thing that you have to do, you just have to do it, and I tell all my clients this every time I present their content marketing strategy to them, because it is a bit of stuff to do. And when you sit down and you look at the whole list, I have to produce the content, then I have to edit the content, then I have to post the content, then I have to promote the content, and all these kinds of things. They all take some time, but So does waking up in the morning and taking a shower and having breakfast and having lunch and having dinner and spending time with your family. And everything that you do in your life takes time. It's whether you're going to make time for it. And so what I often tell people is that they need to look at their calendar, find out when, either in the course of a week or a month, they have downtime. Maybe, if there's a particular time of the month that's busier than others, maybe you're a mortgage broker, and end of month is crazy because everybody's closing their homes. But come that first week of the next month, you're not doing very much, especially during the off season or whatever. You have to find that time. And whether it's 1 hour on Friday morning, or maybe it's 3 hours every other Thursday, or whatever it is, find some time, block it in your calendar. Don't schedule any other meetings, turn off your phone, turn off your email, block that time out for creating content as if it was a client meeting. If you schedule a meeting with a client from 2 to 4 on Tuesday, when you go meet with that client from 2 to 4, you're going to turn off your cell phone. You're not going to be checking your email. You're going to be focused on that client because you're trying to serve that client. You have to treat the time for creating content the same way. You need to block it in your calendar and not let anything else interfere with it. You may have to shift it once or twice if something else comes up that's pretty important, but you have to treat that time as if it's important too, because it is. Marketing your business is an important part of your day, your week, your month, your year. It should be, unless people are just flocking to you and throwing money at you, in which case you don't probably have to market yourself very much, and you probably stopped watching this video a long time ago. But if you're still here at this point in the video, you probably know that you need to do some marketing. Right. So my biggest recommendation for people is block that time out in your calendar and protect that time so that you can focus. One of the things, Brian, I learned from you several years ago is learn when you're most productive during the day. Some people are morning people, some people are afternoon people, some people are evening people. Try to schedule your time when you're going to do that marketing during times when you can be most productive. Now, sure, you might need to focus that productive time on a particular client project, for example. But if you can, focus some of your time when you're most productive on your marketing effort, at least at first, just so you can, when you're first getting the ball rolling and then everything is new and everything is more challenging to you because it's new, put your best foot forward. Use your best time just once in that week to really get going. Create your list of what kind of content you're going to create. Create some outlines for some blogs or some videos that you might want to generate. And schedule that time and set your timers. If you're going to do it from 2 to 4 on Thursday, start working at 2. And when 4 o'clock comes, stop and put it away. And you're done. You've achieved it. Check it off your checklist if that's the kind of person that you are. Make yourself feel like you've accomplished something, because probably you have. If you've spent that time diligently creating content, or at least outlining content, then you're going to be a long way down the road.
You know what I always do? I talk about, and I'm reaching over, I got my calendar right here, okay, that I personally use. You can see it's all blocked up from different things and whatever. And this is the type of thing where, this is like my Bible in terms of marketing and content marketing, because it helps me stay on track. And one final point that I want to make real quick is the idea that I also will create, I look at it, I go old school with Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? And one of the things that he talks about, I think it's like habit number 3 or whatever, which is look at your entire week. Allocate your time over the course of a week as opposed to a course of a day. And, one of the things that we talk about is this 40-40-20 rule, which 40% of your time is marketing, 40% of your time is servicing, and 20% is everything else. That's what I personally talk about. And content marketing is that 40%, right? The marketing piece. Right. And put that in your calendar, make it a priority, and whether that's Monday morning from 8 until 9, or Friday afternoon from 3 to 5, or Wednesday at lunch from 12 to 1, make that a part of your day, integrate that into it, and you are going to be all set. And I see a lot of people want to have this conversation about not marketing, but they don't really make the time to do that. So I love that.
Around to it. Well,
yeah, right. Well, you know what Deb Dowdy says? A friend of mine up in she says, you know, one of the things is that, you know, waiting until all the lights are green, right? That's like saying, I'm not going to go to the grocery store until all the lights are green. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about going to the store, but, you know, I don't know if all the lights are green, so I'm just going to sit right here, right? Exactly. You know, but a lot of people do the business equivalent of that when it comes to not marketing. Yep. So that is awesome. Erik, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for all of this good stuff. It was really, really good. I appreciate your time. That's Erik Fruin, Internet Marketing Strategist. I'm Brian Hilliard, and thanks again, Erik. We appreciate it.
Thank you.